The government, through the Ministry of Justice, filed a fresh case against Justice Ademola and his wife. And this time, the Code of Conduct Tribunal for allegedly living above their means and failure to declare their assets. This is coming shortly after the government filed an appeal against the decision of Justice Jude Okeke of the FCT High Court upholding the no-case submission in the corruption case against the two. Let's get a perspective of this view as the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Michael Zakome, joins me now, I understand, from our Lagos studios. Many thanks indeed for coming on the show at this time. What do you make of this latest move by the government through the CCT against Justice Ademola and his wife, just after they triumphed at the FCT appeal court?
Yeah, Gimba, when you called me, you thought I was in Abuja, and I told you no, I was in my Lagos office. So you say I could appear here. I thank you very much for this opportunity. What the government is doing, the government is acting like a bull in a china shop. And in order to remove a bull from a china shop, you have to do it so carefully in such a way that you do not destroy china wares, nor the bull itself, nor the shop itself, nor the person trying to control the bull. A government, by section 13, 14, 15 of the Constitution, is supposed to first provide security and welfare, good welfare for the people. A government is not supposed to be an oppressor and a repressor and an intimidator. When a government begins to look for all ways and manners to browbeat and intimidate and coerce citizens, then something is wrong somewhere. Now, after the media trial, you know, EFCC is an expert on two things. One, media trial. Two, ex parte injunctions. But when the real trial comes, when the comes to become, apologies to Dr. Keum by the way of blessed memory, they are found wanting. They never investigate their cases carefully. They never prosecute carefully. They amend their charges 4, 5, 6, 7 times during one trial. Now, Justice Ademola was nocturnally invaded with his house and his family, and he was taken away like a common criminal. And we were told that the DSSS was fighting corruption, even if it meant in our bedrooms. Never mind that they could also have surrounded his house, thrown a cordon around his house, and by 7 a.m. tap at his door and say, hello, we want you. But they broke in between 12 midnight and 5 a.m. And some Nigerians hailed and said this was the best thing to do because we are fighting corruption. But of course, the same Nigerians, as soon as the same DSSS now wrote a damning report about Magu twice, they now say, oh, the DSS is confused, or rather is corrupt. Now, after you have lost a case, a government, you are entitled to appeal. Yes, it's a constitutional right. But how can a government be appealing and simultaneously taking the same judge to the Code of Conduct Tribunal? Meaning that you believe that head or tail, you must win. You must win at all case against a small, helpless citizen. There is what you call outre for. There's what you call.
What impact will this have on the fight against corruption and the integrity of the anti-corruption agencies, do you think?
Yeah, the impact is that it is reductionist. It is extenuating, circumscribing, downgrading more and more the fight against corruption. My earlier view that it was tailored through perceived enemies, critical voices, and other segments of the society that are not necessarily in agreement with the government is coming to pass. Never mind that we cannot all sleep with our heads facing one direction. Now, the anti-corruption fight is becoming more and more laughable and more ludicrous, verging on the Alawada, Kerikeri, histrionics platform. Now, there's what you call outre for acquit and outre for convict. There's also the doctrine of double jeopardy. You cannot punish a man for one thing and then repunish him again for another. Now that Justice Ademola, the wife, and Joe Agi SAN have been discharged by the court, after 18 counts on a no-case submission because there was no verisimilitude of any evidence, no matter how tenuous, to link these people. You are now taking the same man to the Code of Conduct Tribunal. That is oppression. That is repression. That is subjugation. That is fascism. It must be detested.
Let me come inside again, and you do, of course, remember, let me call for a report which captured you just moments after the court ruled the case in your favor. It was very dramatic. Let's take a listen to that report.
In his ruling on the application to unfreeze the accounts, Justice Abdulaziz Anka agreed with Mr. Ozekome that the freezing order obtained by the EFCC in respect of Governor Fayoshe's accounts had been lifted by Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti. Justice Anka said he would not allow himself to be lured into sitting as an appellate judge over the decisions of Justice Mohammed Idris, who earlier froze Governor Fayoshe's accounts, and Justice Taiwo, who later unfroze it. Mr. Ozekome was very happy with the judgment, and he went spiritual.
Only him deserves the glory. Take it.
He also used the opportunity to ask the president to disband the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, led by Professor Ishe Sagi.
Today, I defeated the EFCC for the 7th time in 12 months. Do you know why? They have a Presidential Anti-Corruption Advisory Committee that gives everything but the right advice. It is that panel that tests public officers not to obey an institution like the Senate, not to report to them. It is that panel that quote the law upside down and enthrone illogicality and injustice. That panel...
You know, just looking at that report, the much we could have on it, you were literally prostrating or lying flat on your belly on the floor.
Yes.
What were you doing?
On the bare floor, I was glorifying God. You heard me say, take it. I was telling God to take the full glory and adoration for defeating the FCC 7 times. It was the 8th time. Because as my judgment was being delivered, with my junior holding forth for me, I was actually appearing physically before Justice Babs Kewumi in a case involving 4 companies that took Patient Jonathan's money. And the argument, EFCC argument, was that I could not come into the matter because the companies had already been convicted, even though they did not have a lawyer. And we argued this for over 2 hours. And the judge again ruled against the EFCC and said, I must represent these companies in accordance with Section 36 of the Constitution. That was the 8th time I was defeating them in 12 months. Now, I was glorifying God because, see, look at it. Look at it. Lamentations 3:37. Who is it that speaketh, and it cometh to pass, if the Lord has not affirmed it? Look at it. Jeremiah 32:27. Look at it. Genesis 18:14. Behold, I am the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me to do? I am God's own apple. I am God's own Psalm 105 verse 15. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. I was glorifying God that against an array.
You've gone completely philosophical.
So I prostrated for God.
Of being
not because of money. Let me tell you now.
That's okay.
That's what
your victory has brought forward for you.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much indeed, the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Michael Ozekome, for talking to us on State of the Nation. Many thanks indeed for your thoughts and your views. And of course to you for being part of the show. Join me same time next week for a fresh package. I am Gimba Umar, signing out from Abuja. Bye for now.